Great. Welcome to episode 59 of The Bar is Ankle High. I'm Katie.
I'm Garet.
And I don't think we have any housekeeping. Go join our Patreon and tell your friends about us because we're cuties.
And Patreon's basically on sale right now.
Basically, yeah.
This is during maternity leave.
Mm-hmm. All of our anklets and limbo champions get ad-free episodes. So instead of just our limbo champions getting ad-free episodes, so you can take advantage of that if you wanna. But this week I am telling you all about Whole30.
I'm excited because I don't really know anything about this.
Me neither. It was really in fact, I still don't.
I'm just mentioning it. I thought maybe you knew.
I just wanted to chat. So there's a ton of information on this diet, like, available. It's been around since April 2009. It has a whole book about it that has some recipes and like how to do it and whatever the fuck else. You can go to whole30.com and get all this information. The front page of its website promises, quote, no points, no tracking, no scale. And the entire program is made up of 2 phases, 30 days of, quote, elimination and 10 days of, quote, reintroduction. On the diet, you can eat meat, vegetables, fruit, tree nuts, seeds, and healthy fats, but not sugar, grains, legumes, dairy, alcohol, and processed foods. You can also have herbs, spices, and seasonings. The idea is to eat foods with simple or recognizable lists of ingredients or no ingredients at all because they are whole and unprocessed. Yeah. So for the elimination phase, those 30 days.
Beans or grains?
Yeah, I'll get there. For the elimination phase, you don't eat anything that contains added sugar, real or artificial, including maple syrup, agave nectar, honey, coconut sugar, date syrup, monk fruit extract, stevia, Splenda, equal, or xylitol. If there is any sugar listed on the ingredient list on the label, you cannot eat it. Yep.
Good luck eating anything.
Yep. Effectively, it's like, the point more or less is to stay away from processed foods. So there's like this weird list of exceptions that we'll get to, but yeah, like no processed foods is the idea, which is why it's called Whole30, because it's whole foods. Also no alcohol, no wine, beer, champagne, liquor, whether consumed on its own or used as an ingredient in a recipe or something else. I don't know what the something else is, but
in case you're butt chugging wine. Don't do that.
Yeah, my daily whiskey enemas are apparently not allowed on this.
And it's weird that they don't allow like beer and wine. I don't know.
I mean, I get it.
At a certain point, it just sounds like you're counting calories. Yeah.
Like I understand. Yeah. We'll get there. Also, no grains, so no wheat, rye, barley, oats, corn, rice, millet, bulgur, sorghum, sprouted grains, and no gluten-free pseudo-cereals like quinoa, amaranth, and buckwheat. That also includes any form of those grains, so no brands or germs or starches and so on. So anything that has like wheat germ in it, you can't have.
So you're gonna be constipated.
Which brings me to the next point. No legumes. No beans of any kind, peanuts, peanut butter, peanut oil, any form of soy, including soy sauce, tofu, tempeh, edamame, soy milk, or miso. And there is a significant exception to this that we'll get to.
Like,
no
what is
dairy.
The beef with legumes?
I don't know. But you can have all the meat you want.
Yeah, God knows.
No dairy whatsoever. No cow's milk, goat's milk, sheep milk, or any other mammal milk or milk products, such as milk, cream, cheese, kefir, yogurt, sour cream, ice cream, frozen yogurt.
What about elephant milk?
Probably not, but only because you have to get it from the prostate. Tune into Patreon for that nightmare.
Or don't. I understand either way.
The only exceptions to this rule are clarified butter or ghee, which is allowed. Which, again, I'll explain why that's an exception in a second. It's bizarro to me.
I mean,
so
far everything's bizarro to me.
The next thing that is banned on the diet is carrageenans or sulfites. Carrageenan is a natural linear sulfated polysaccharide that is extracted from red edible seaweeds and is used in the food industry for the gelling, thickening, and stabilizing properties. So it's just used as like a thickening agent in foods. And I guess because it's sulfated, you're not allowed to have it.
But it comes from seaweed?
Yeah.
So that's whole. That's natural.
Well, yes. But you're not eating the seaweed, you're eating the extract of the seaweed that they use to put into food. Again, like, you're not going to see this unless it's in a processed food. So, like,
is bacon allowed?
Yes.
They can suck it. We're allowing bacon and not a bean.
Yeah. Also, no recreating baked goods, treats, or junk foods with improved ingredients. So you can't make banana egg pancakes, coconut cassava tortillas, or coconut milk ice cream. Quote, with the reason being, your cravings and habits won't change if you keep eating these foods, even if they are made with Whole30 ingredients.
That's psychotic.
Mm-hmm. It's this rule in particular is frequently called the pancake rule, born out of the idea that if you want to change your habits, you have to actually change your habits. So the rule has expanded to ban pancakes, crepes, waffles, breads, tortillas, biscuits, muffins, cupcakes, cookies, brownies, alternative flour, pizza crust, or pastas, granola, cereal, ice cream, and commercially prepared chips or deep fried French fries.
So that would go for the cheddar Chex Mix I'm eating right now. It reminds me of like...
I mean, there's also probably sugar in that, so yeah.
Oh yeah, there's... I mean, the list of... the list of ingredients is long. It reminds me of like Santa Claus. Like, oh, he sees you when you're sleeping. Like, he knows when you've been good or bad. Like, who's snitching on me to the diet gods that I had?
I think what's interesting
is banana and egg mashed and
what I find
in a pan.
Yeah, so like, well, okay, so there's one more rule. And then I'll tell you my thought. So there's during this 30-day elimination period, no stepping on the scale or taking measurements. Quote, your reset is about so much more than just weight loss and focusing on body composition. Which means... Oh, and focusing on body composition means you'll miss out on the most dramatic and lifelong benefits that this plan has to offer, unquote. So no weighing or measuring yourself until you finish this 30-day elimination period.
Like, I think that's good.
Right. Yes.
But
yes. So the thing that I find interesting about it is like, and what I was going to say before is like all of these, like my experience or my exposure to Whole30 has been like, this is Whole30 approved. And it's a fucking pancake roll thing. It's a banana or a banana pancake, like a pancake made with these 2 ingredient breads and like da-da-da-da. And you can just whip this up really quick. So like, that's usually what I'm hearing or seeing. I can't hear you if you're speaking.
Yep, I just realized I was muted.
Okay.
As I went to mute myself to take a drink. No, that's very true. I do feel like, especially on like Pinterest and things like that.
Yes.
You see a lot of things pop up and it says like Whole30 approved or like keto friendly. And
Yes.
It is, you know,
it's these substitutes. It's
right.
making these like quote unquote healthy swaps, which I don't personally have a problem with. Like alternative flour crust pizza. Does that mean you're not allowed to have like cauliflower crust pizza?
I mean, like, I'll eat a regular pancake, but also if I'm like, I should probably get some additional protein, I'll make a Kodiak pancake. And there's no like ethics ascribed to it. It's just, I should probably get a little bit more protein. Let me have this instead.
Well, and you're not allowed to have yogurt, so how else are you going to get protein on this fucking
That
thing?
is meat.
Right, and you can't have beans, so it's just mushrooms and meat are where you're getting your protein from, because you're not having, I guess you could have almond milk.
Chia seeds.
Yeah, like you're just going oatmeal? Hard. Nope, that's an oat. It's a grain.
Oh my fucking lord. It, honestly, anything that eliminates, I think, like, if we're looking at it at face value, everyone can agree oatmeal is good for you.
Yes.
It's a good, like, filling, high fiber. There's protein in it. It's sustainable. Like, it keeps you full for a long time. It's a ton of things you can do with it. It's very versatile, healthy thing to eat.
Yeah, no one on my 600-pound life got there by eating oatmeal.
Right. And anybody that is telling you can't eat oatmeal for some fucking random list of rules, it's nonsense.
Correct.
Oatmeal. Yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The way you said that just reminded me of Frosty the Snowman when they were trying to come up with a name for him, and the little kid is like, "What about oatmeal?" Like, oatmeal.
The only thing I think of is happy birthday.
Let's name him Frosty. Yeah, Frosty the Snowman. I'm fine. I don't wish for Christmas.
I'd like it to be known that Katie gave us at least 3 or 4 sets of Christmas pajamas for the baby, a Christmas outfit, and at least 2 Christmas books.
I did give you 2 Christmas books. I didn't realize I gave you Christmas outfits, though.
Yeah.
But that tracks.
Yeah. You gave us Christmas outfits way back around Christmas time.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't count. It was close to Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like, that was in season. That wasn't... Not my fault. You found out you were pregnant around Christmas.
Oh my god, that's great.
Yeah, so then there's this section on the website called the fine print. So ghee or clarified butter is allowed because it's, quote, had their milk solids rendered out, which is a heinous phrase. I don't know what a milk solid is.
But how is that considered whole?
I don't know. I know that
Mr.
I would
30.
I have clarified butter with my steamed lobster. It's really good. 10 out of 10. But I don't do it because it's Whole30 approved.
Right. I just So what are the other fine print stupid exceptions?
Fruit juice is permitted. Products or recipes made with 100% fruit juices are compatible with the program, even when used as a natural sweetener. Which is fucking nuts to me because, like, if I drank, like, half a gallon of pineapple juice because I'm so craving some sort of sugar.
Right.
Like, that's going to fuck up my blood sugar way more than just having oatmeal would.
You'll probably also shit your pants, for what it's worth.
Yeah, but later.
That's part of the 10-day part of Whole30, not the 30-day part of Whole30. Which, why is it Whole30 if it's actually a 40-day thing?
I don't know. Because Whole40 sounds biblical. I don't know. Okay, so I also wrote cut to Buster Bluth passing out with juice boxes all around him.
Juicy juice.
That's all I could think. But I was like, this rule doesn't make any fucking sense. So now you're just using juice in like a vinaigrette so that you can have a salad that brings you any semblance of joy. Like
this, it reminds me of like when you watch something on one of those cults.
Yes.
And they try and justify something they did with some arbitrary, well, Jesus really wants me to have this because it makes me happy. And if I'm happy, then I can make you guys happy type of bullshit. That's what that is.
Also, to the exception for legumes, green beans and most peas, sugar snap, snow peas, green peas, yellow peas, and split peas are all allowed. There was no explanation for this exception to the no legume rule.
Why would split peas be allowed?
I don't know. Why would sugar snap peas be allowed if edamame is not? Like,
I'm so mad about these rules.
Okay, so the next fine print thing or exception is vinegar and botanical extracts. So vinegars and alcohol-based botanical extracts like vanilla, lavender, or lemon extracts are allowed during Whole30, except malt-based vinegars because they contain gluten. But I don't know why the alcohol-based extracts would be allowed if no alcohol is allowed. Like, I understand also if you're going to cut out all added sugars, why you would cut out alcohol, because alcohol is a sugar. So, like, that also tracks to me, but allowing, like, vanilla extract, and what good is vanilla extract if I can't make my fucking banana and egg pancakes with some flavor in it?
You can have vanilla, but you can't put it in shit.
Right. You can just drink it.
And even then, it's alcohol.
Yeah. So, and also, at no point would I think that vinegars would be excluded from a diet. Like,
if anything, I would think they would want you to use vinegar instead of other things. Like,
right. Like, instead of hand sanitizer.
That feels like it was a million
to your grave,
ago, by the way.
But yeah.
I feel like there's definitely diets where they tell you, like, instead of salad dressing,
yes,
to be putting like some kind of vinegar on your lettuce. Like, that's appealing to fucking anybody.
Yes, to get I remember in my Weight Watchers days, it was a big one to get just a little bit of oil and vinegar if you went to Subway on your sub. And I was like,
no, I want a lot of oil and vinegar.
No. I'll just have the light mayo, thanks.
I want a lot of it, not a little bit.
Also, coconut aminos are allowed. I've had coconut aminos before. Have you?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's actually like a soy-free alternative to soy sauce. It tastes just like soy sauce, but it's made from coconuts.
I've had tamari.
It's similar.
Oh, okay.
So coconut aminos are allowed as an alternative to soy sauce. And it's allowed even if the label says it contains coconut nectar or coconut syrup, in violation of the no added sugar rule. Again, I don't know why.
This is exasperating.
And the only explanation that I could like get behind, iodized salt is permitted because all iodized salt contains a small amount of dextrose, which is a type of sugar, which is in there as a stabilizer, but the website notes that, quote, eliminating all table salt would be unreasonable.
So this, like, paying this much attention to what you're eating is just another form of disordered eating.
The only reason I could see, and I think initially when I first started hearing about Whole30, it was from people who were like, I'm just feeling off and I'm not sure if it's coming from my diet. So you go to this type of like heavy restricted diet and then you do the reintroduction phase where you go like one group of excluded foods at a time.
Which makes sense, like, if you're trying to figure out like a food sensitivity, for sure.
Correct. So that does make sense to me only in that context.
Right.
Because
this is lunacy.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like you're eliminating everything. So it's not like, well, we'll get to it. But so the reintroduction phase, this is this 10-day period, which is also, by the way, a minimum 10-day period. Because each time you bring back a food group that you've eliminated, which you bring them back one at a time, so you can determine which foods are having a negative impact on your energy, sleep, mood, cravings, digestion, etc.
But we're not eliminating meat at any point.
No.
Okay, good. That's good.
Yeah,
Because
you can eat
your
all.
digestion's going to be great if you're not doing any grains, but you are doing meat.
Yeah, you'll just have a fully impacted colon after 30 days. So you introduce one food group at a time back, and then you go back into the elimination phase for 2 days to reset, quote, in case you have a negative experience, but the 2-day reset is mandatory.
So you
add sugar
30
in one
days,
day.
then you would have like 1 day of dairy, 2 days
and
back
then 2
of
days.
elimination.
And then 1 day of sugar.
You can have dairy.
Yeah, if you don't have a negative reaction, then you can have dairy again. And then on that 4th day, it's like day 1, you add dairy. And then 2 days of restriction. And then, so day 2 and 3 is restriction. Day 4 is you add in sugar. And then day 5 and 6 is restriction without sugar again, with still dairy. And then day 8 is legumes.
This
and
is
then
not
days of restriction again.
Made with anyone in ADHD in mind, because I would have lost the patience for this in like 3 days.
Yes. So according to the website also, by the way, it is completely, so under the different categories, it said that re-adding alcohol back into your diet was optional, which I understand. Like if you're trying to eliminate alcohol from your diet, I like get it and respect it. They also though said that reintroducing added sugar from your system was fully optional. And I was like, no honey and no maple syrup. Like I get if you want to eliminate refined sugars from your diet, or eat less of them, but honey or maple syrup, like maple syrup is a vegan sweetener. Like why wouldn't you have maple syrup? Maple syrup's fucking delicious.
Yeah.
Like
you also aren't allowed to laugh on Whole30 or find enjoyment in anything.
Well, and also like again, who is eating that much maple syrup except for Buddy the Elf?
Right.
He's the only one.
Right, like I it's something I so infrequently consume, but also if I need maple syrup, there's nothing else that's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I have a jug of maple syrup that I can get like 1 jug a year.
Yeah.
Of like a pint, and it lasts me all year because I make pancakes very infrequently.
Yeah.
And when you have real maple syrup, you don't need to use that much. So you're not like drowning your food in whatever.
Well, there's also, I feel like there's a rule that if there's a couple, one person in the couple needs to like real maple syrup and the other person needs to like the Aunt Jemima's butter flavored maple syrup.
Yeah, the corn syrup.
Yeah. And like those people have to be together.
That's true. I should see what kind that PK likes. I would bet that he's a Caro syrup kind of person.
We've literally had this debate going on for like 12 years.
Well, your spouse is wrong. I can tell you that.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure I would be disowned having Canadians in my family if I was eating Aunt Jemima's by choice.
My grandparents used to go up to the border because they lived in Vermont. They'd go up to the Canadian border every year and get each of their grandkids a gallon of maple syrup. So we had 2 gallons of maple syrup every year. And my mom finally had to tell them, like, you can't give me 2 gallons of maple syrup. Like, we just don't eat 2 gallons. Between the 3 of us, we don't eat 2 gallons of maple syrup in a year. But my grandma used it to make bread, and she made all of their bread. They never bought bread from the store. So she was using it in her bread and making like, dozens of loaves of bread. So she was going through that much on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, if you're buying it in that quantity, then you got to find uses
for it. Well, it's true. It's also used as hair gel. So according to health.com, some of the risks of Whole30 are that it can, fuck with your digestion. I'm paraphrasing. Because you aren't getting any fucking fiber from carbs or legumes. You're only getting fiber from any like vegetables you might be eating. But good luck trying to force, especially if you have I have ADHD and I'm not getting a carb, like good luck trying to get me to eat a vegetable. Like I have to have some carbs with my meal in order to like not even incentivize eating the vegetables. Like I just have no interest in the vegetables. Like I will fully just leave them on my plate.
I mean, it's just so ridiculous to me. I just feel like you will get to the point, like if I'm restricting that many things, I'm gonna find like 4 things that I can eat, and then I'm just gonna eat those for like the 30 days, and then if I have to look at them again, I'm gonna throw them at the wall.
Yes.
And then Whole30 is over.
Also, this health.com article said that it could actually induce a food sensitivity, because if you're completely restricting an entire food group from yourself, like all grains, when you finally allow yourself to have that food again, it could cause digestion problems because your gut isn't used to eating it. So not because you had a food sensitivity or allergy before that. Like, for example, if you cut out dairy from your diet, your gut will automatically stop producing the enzymes needed to break down dairy products because you don't need them anymore. You're not using them. So then when you suddenly eat dairy again, you're going to feel like shit. Because your body doesn't have the ability to break it down.
Yep.
Right.
I mean,
fair.
It happens with meat too. Like there was one time I had not eaten meat in a couple of years and ordered, I don't know, we got mac and cheese or something, and there was bacon fat in it, and I was like, oh damn, so sick the next day.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Just like
I did that one year for Lent.
Body couldn't digest it.
Yeah. I gave up meat for Lent one year, and I was like not prepared because I was doing it in college for some reason. And so there's even like fewer options for protein. And so finally I like made it like maybe halfway through Lent, and then I was like, fuck it, I'm having some chicken tenders and fries for lunch, like whatever. And I got super sick. I felt gross. And that was only after a few weeks.
Yeah.
So additionally, like we've discussed with deprivation diets before, Whole30 can make your cravings like so much worse, which then you can end up with like all of those different feelings we've talked about, where you feel like a failure, and if you break the diet and this, that, and the other. It can also heighten your risk for chronic diseases by eliminating protein sources from grains, beans, soy, and dairy products.
Oh my God.
High meat diets do have documented health risks of increased type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, and heart disease. Even though you're only theoretically doing this for 30 days, there are people that end up staying on their, like the idea being that like once you do your reintroduction phase, you figure out the diet that works for you, the permanent Whole30 diet. So you have this like meal plan that includes foods that you can tolerate, and you're on that for the rest of your life. But if that list doesn't include any grains or gluten-free grains even, then you're still relying on mostly meat. Or if that list doesn't include any dairy and you're not using any dairy substitutes, because you can't do this bullshit pancake rule where you make any substitute things. So now, like, what are you supposed to do? Like, you can't have even lactate sour cream or something. So then, you know, you're just not getting protein from these other sources. You're not having a diverse diet, which everyone says having a diverse diet is better for you under all circumstances. That overall you will live longer and be healthier if you eat a variety of things. So yeah, Whole30 can heighten your risk for chronic diseases. It's also noted as being not sustainable. The 30-day period of compliance is not long enough to actually build sustainable, healthy habits, and the extreme restriction is unsustainable anyway. So you're not really learning any new skills. Health.com's article interviewed someone who said that the core principle of Whole30, eat more whole, unprocessed foods, can be a dietary goal without like being weird about food for the rest of your life. Like that's a solid goal to have. But like saying I will never touch another, you know, grain again. Come on.
Well, and I mean, it's like when you look at calorie counting and when people are making dietary decisions strictly on calorie counts, you know, I can't eat a date. You can't eat these nutrient dense items because they're also calorie dense. But
Yeah.
you can eat something that's low in calories that has no nutritional value, and you can have more of that. So it's just like
Which, if
not
you're struggling with like binge eating problems, that's perfect.
right.
Because you can get the volume that you're craving. But you will continue to have high volume meals because your body needs you to eat more so that you can get some nutrients out of it. So then again, like you're not learning those healthy,
and you maintain that feeling of like quick turnaround time being hungry because your body's burning through them so quick because they're not nutrient dense. So it is just like, and that was always my philosophy with like, not always, it's the philosophy that I adopted more recently where it's like, I'm not gonna do this thing that requires me to like buy this supplement because I'm not gonna be buying that supplement when I'm 70. Like, I'm not going to do this Whole30 diet because I'm not going to not have bread for the rest of my life.
For sure. Yeah.
It's so like the restriction is just, and it just seems so arbitrary.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I think if you're really struggling to figure out if you have a food allergy, or you have like a chronic illness that like Crohn's or something that is causing you like bowel inflammation, it's reasonable to do these kinds of elimination diets and figure out. But I personally would probably just do one food type at a time.
One at a time, so that you know what the issue is. And also really be doing it under the guidance of a physician.
Yeah, or a registered dietitian at least. You know, somebody
like,
that you can like
seeing a clinician for
like somebody
this.
where like, you know, you can take the notes and say, you know, okay, this is my food diary, this is what I ate, and then this is how I felt, and then they can look at it and see and like really analyze and give you that kind of like third person to, you know, give you that insight. But this is one of those diets that came up when I was doing that 75 hard episode as one of the potential diets that you would do for 75 days. And I can't imagine
that with that.
Yeah.
That's like a full-time job, managing those two things.
Yes. And to be fair, 75 hard didn't require that you weigh yourself, but you did have to take pictures every day of yourself. And this, you're not supposed to weigh or measure yourself during your elimination period so that you can focus on how you're feeling, not on the body composition results that you may or may not be getting from the diet. So it was just weird. Like, as I was doing this research, I was like, why are people doing this with 75 hard? Like, that just seems so mean. Like, be nicer to yourself.
Oh,
like,
it's a miserable existence. And that's all I can think, like, is something that has that many rules. Like, imagine just trying to live like a normal life. Like, it's my friend's birthday.
Oh, totally.
And we're going to go out and celebrate their birthday. And I can't drink anything. Or we're doing a toast for this. I can't have a sip of anything. You know, I can't have any of the appetizers that anybody ordered.
I wouldn't have been able to have the salad at your baby shower if I were doing this.
Right.
Because it had edamame and goat cheese on it.
Yes. Like, it's, you wouldn't have been able to eat anything. Because there was pizza.
No, I would have had the grilled vegetables, but I couldn't have any of the hummus with it or the pita. I could have grilled
probably
vegetables.
Only like some of the vegetables because there's probably some kind of fucking rule about root vegetables or something. It's just like, it's so, it brings you back to that thought, like, life is so short. Why would I waste my brain power thinking this much? Because to me, like, if you're spending this much time, when you look at the rules, having to analyze everything you're eating, like when we're talking about food noise in your head.
Yes.
This is creating a constant food noise.
And I think that's a good point, because I think, 5 years ago when I was, doing Weight Watchers and all that, it would have been nothing to me to take on this new set of rules. I mean, it would have just been like, oh yeah, okay, new rules. I'm already in rules anyway. So like, right. Like, oh, if it'll help me get through this plateau or whatever. And I think, part of the problem is that people aren't doing it to figure out, their Crohn's disease or, their Lyme disease issues or anything like with gut health. They're doing it to lose weight. because obviously if you're not supposed to be weighing yourself during it, and the idea is, oh, focus on how you feel and don't weigh yourself on the day 1 and weigh yourself on day 30. Well, you're still measuring then. You're still gauging that progress.
And how many people are going to follow that?
Oh, totally.
I mean, I just, it also makes me laugh because I think about how many times I had done like some kind of, fad type diet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would read like the general things that I was supposed to avoid, things I was supposed to eat, blah, blah, blah. I would always miss the fine print. So then like I'd be eating something and somebody would be like, oh, you're doing that. I thought you were doing this diet. And I'd be like, yeah, very ADHD. Like,
yep. Yeah. No, I was like, that sounds like a conversation I've had.
Yeah. Well, no, you can't have this and that has this in it. And I'd be like, and then you immediately feel like a failure.
Yes.
You're like, man, I'm really bad at this.
Well, because it's not even necessarily that like that makes you feel like a failure, but for me, it always made me feel like it invalidated any success I felt like I had to that point.
Yes. Yeah.
It was suddenly
and any
not,
other things I've done.
It wasn't true. It wasn't honest. I didn't really do it. So, oh, well,
man, I
just got lucky.
So glad to not be in that. Yeah. Doing that because that is just like, you just feel bad about yourself all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's
like a hamster wheel of shame.
Yes, it is. It totally is. And I mean, then you start realizing like, oh, it's that by design. It keeps people in these loops.
Yeah. I mean, it's $1 billion industry. So that's what it's for. And this has a whole, like everything on their website was like, are you ready to get started? Get your book here. It was all about like buying the book and, we've got 150 recipes for you and it's only 30 days. That's more than enough recipes. It's just ridiculous. And not to mention like how many people doing this have families. So now they're not even eating with their families because like I feel like every parent I know or a parent of young children, not like toddlers, but young children, it's like they're only going to eat chicken nuggets and blackberries right now. So that's what we are having for dinner.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not going to sit there, especially this time of year when I'm already boiling. I'm not making 2 different meals or 3 different meals. No way. Like, So now you've alienated yourself from the rest of your family. Or if your kids are maybe potentially older or you just have a partner that you're living with, your partner's either eating this food with you or not, but they're going to get takeout. And because I know if I tried to do this, PK would be getting food on his way home and probably eating it in the car before he came in. Like, it would be I'm just not hungry for dinner thing because he wouldn't want to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
But like, no, it would be, hi, buddy.
It's just like none of these are sustainable for living.
No.
Long term.
And I mean, that was the real takeaway from that health.com article. But it's also, and it's the same thing with 75 Hard. They're like, it's not supposed to be forever. And so you get into this mindset where it's like, I can do this. It's not forever. That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
Right,
but you're like they said, you're not actually learning any skills because it's just full elimination. You're not learning because these healthy swaps are banned. So you're not actually learning how to make healthy swaps. And the idea of like, well, if you always crave pizza, then like that's a moral failing of yours. Like that's something that's wrong with you.
Fucking delicious.
Right. Like I just want fucking pizza because by the time Thursday and Friday rolls around, I'm too fucking tired from the work week to cook dinner and I just want to get takeout.
Mm-hmm.
Like I moved some stuff from my apartment yesterday and then got sunburned in my backyard, but I still ordered sushi because I just didn't feel like cooking. Like,
and you know what? Sushi, when it's really hot out,
so good.
It hits just right. Yeah.
It was yummy. But yeah,
Would you not have that because of the rice?
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah. This is just absurd. It's absurd.
And probably the sauces too, because there's definitely soy sauce. I couldn't have the soy sauce or whatever, like their chef special sauce is on it is probably one of them's at least mayonnaise based. Oh, and then I guess mayonnaise would be fine because it's eggs and oil, right?
Can you have oil?
You can have healthy oils.
That's the thing. You sit there and you start to feel like a crazy person because you're just like, I don't know, can I have this? Hold on. That is just no way to live. It's no way to live.
And I was never good about that. I'm still not good at it. Like I'm like, as we mentioned in the Ozempic episodes, like I'm aware of what I'm eating. I'm like lightly tracking. I don't track my sauces. I never did. I never did on Weight Watchers. I never did it when I was counting calories. It's just one of those things like sure, 2 tablespoons, whatever the default serving is, go for it. Like whatever. I'm just not going to like bend over backwards and hurt myself trying to figure out like, oh, I don't know if it's that much, then, you know, I'm going to be over calories or I'll be over my fat goal or whatever the fuck. And like, nah, I'm just not about it.
Well, it's just like, I remember, you know, when I was doing a lot of calorie counting, you know, the philosophy being like, if you're not using a food scale, you're doing it all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
Which is that fucking TikTok or whatever of the woman being like, if you're not at the gym, where the fuck you at? God. I hope someone kicks her right in the taint. I hated that woman.
I'm sure somebody has since she posted that. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, obviously everybody's got to do what works for them. I personally have realized that anything with that many fucking rules, I'm just not designed for it.
I think anytime you say I fully cannot have something, I can't do it. My brain won't let me go there to the idea of just never being able to have something. And, you know, like I said, I mean, with the medication that I'm on at the moment, it's easy for me to take a few bites and be satisfied. So, which I've never had before. So I think, you know, if you're struggling with that, then, you know, reach out to a dietitian, to your GP, you know, see what your options are. But so I understand I understand the temptation to be like, well, if I can just never have it, then I can't overeat it because I'll never be around it.
I mean, it's the same philosophy that drives anorexia nervosa.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's just no way to live. I mean, you know, you have to think about like all of these like life events that come up. Do I really not want to be able to have a slice of birthday cake at my kid's birthday because some dude who wrote a fucking diet book with no knowledge of nutrition said so?
Well, and you know, again, the idea that like, well, if you really want to change your habits, then you can't have pancakes. And it's like, what the fuck? How often are you having pancakes? Like, yeah, if you're having them every day, maybe eat less pancakes. You know, that's a lot of pancakes.
Right.
But if you go out once a week to a diner and get pancakes and bacon, like, just live your fucking life.
Well, it's like my primary saying, maybe just like fewer yolks, you know, just like add some egg whites to your eggs if you're going to do like scrambled eggs or something, versus a cardiologist that said, I can never go out to eat. And if I go out to eat, I have to get a salad. And if I get a salad, the sauce has to be the dressing has to be on the side. And it should only really be like vinegar. And me sitting there looking at her like, you must be so much fun. Because like ultimately, like, I mean, yeah, I'll make healthy choices, but you know, what good is life if all you're going to do is make healthy choices and not live or do anything?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, we're having chicken sausage risotto today for dinner.
I love risotto.
I've never made it before. I'm pretty excited. It's a HelloFresh meal.
Pain in the dick to make, but and HelloFresh is always like saute for 10 minutes. No, it takes like an hour, but it is delicious.
I remember you telling me that the last time you got risotto from them, so I'm prepared for it to take a little bit longer.
Yeah, because they
40-minute estimate
when it comes to that. They'll be like, oh, you know, sear this for, you know, 30 seconds on each side. No, it's going to take like 5 minutes on each side. What are you talking about? So yeah, I remember one night we had a risotto meal with them and they said the whole meal was going to take like, I don't know, it was like under 30 minutes or something. And I didn't really feel like cooking, but I was like, I've got it. I'll make it. Cut to an hour later when this risotto's finally done cooking.
They'll definitely want to sponsor us now.
HelloFresh, I love you guys, but man, you gotta work on your time estimates for things. Not as big a deal now, but when we were eating meat, it was like just
Yeah.
wrong all the time.
Yeah, so I think, you know, it was just an interesting kind of like rabbit hole to fall down. And I think with ADHD in general, it can be easy to slip into these fad diets for sure, especially when there's a hashtag involved and hashtag
And only read
Whole30.
half the rules.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you'd be better off if you only read half the rules to this fucking thing. Let me tell you.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it needs a book because there's so many
What blew
rules.
my mind was the fruit juice thing that you could use as a sweetener, but no, you couldn't use honey or maple syrup. Like,
I can't get over legumes.
Yeah.
Like
no peanuts
a
or peanut
source
butter.
of protein.
Yeah. But you could eat other nuts, like tree nuts. I don't know. It's just very bizarre.
It's stupid. And eat your beans and your grains.
Eat your beans so you can beef all over them. And yeah.
Beans.
No, it was wild.
The more you eat.
They're good for your heart.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, that's don't do Whole30. I mean, unless it really makes you happy, I guess, then do what you want to do, but it's trash.
Yeah, do what you want to do. Just, you know, check in with yourself and make sure that you're not accidentally hurting yourself by being too restrictive.
Yeah.
Because
and if you're trying to figure out a food sensitivity, maybe talk to a doctor or a dietitian or someone.
Yeah, I mean, they can do blood tests to test if you have a gluten allergy. So, like, there's no reason to, like, go through all this just to determine if you are allergic to gluten. They can just do a blood test. Right. They did it on me. Or they can do an endoscopy. Like,
right. Or, and you
like
don't have to
if your blood test comes back with
groups.
elevated levels.
Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And
like maybe you're just lactose intolerant. Maybe you don't need to eliminate half the food pyramid.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the idea, like, no soy, no edamame, but sugar snap peas, it was just bizarre. Just bizarre. And then all of the fruit juice you want. Unlimited juice? This party's gonna be off the hook.
Good luck finding a juice that's just juice. Unless you're juicing it yourself.
You can find it. I mean, you can find that in the store. I have 100% pineapple juice in my fridge. We put it in Moscow Mules. But 100%. I mean, it's easy enough to find it. It's just making sure that there's, like, no sugar added, I guess. But generally speaking, the thing, or like any preservatives, juice, there's no sugar added. There'd be ascorbic acid in it, is usually what they put in it to preserve it. Mm-hmm. But don't let them put seaweed in it. That's for sure. No sulfates. Which is also super, again, like, that to me screams that you're having, like, an inflammation issue. Not that, like, because otherwise they don't list what sulfates are. So, like, you have to separately, I mean, it might be in the book, but you have to, like, separately research what those things are. So you can avoid
like, if
them.
You're having an inflammation issue and you're not cutting out meat, I don't even, or red meat, I don't even know where to go with that.
No, you're right.
It's ridiculous. So remember to don't buy into fat diets. Eat your beans.
Don't buy into fat.
And your grains and your fucking oatmeal. And a pancake if you want one.
Yeah, just enjoy a good morning bagel, you know? Or like a nice dumpling.
Just imagine life without a warm bagel.
No pierogies? No way.
Ugh. I can't even go there.
In the meantime, we will be back next week with a new episode. You can join our Patreon at patreon.com/thebarsankle-high, While Garet is on maternity leave, all Anklets and Limbo champions get access to ad-free episodes. So now is definitely the time to join and enjoy those ad-free episodes while Garet is on maternity leave. You can check out our merch at bit.ly/anklehighmerch and make sure you're following us on Instagram and Threads at the bar is ankle high. And leave us a 5-star review wherever you can find us. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you can write out a review, it is like the best way to help us. And otherwise, share us with your friends and eat what you want.
Especially beans.
And pizza. Because the bar is ankle high.
Bye.
Bye.